Hello, welcome to the syllabus review for financial accounting in the summer of 2018. I'd like to go over the syllabus to give you a good strong idea of what's going to be going on in this course, what's expected of you in this course, what the requirements are, assessments, textbook needs, and so forth. Financial accounting is one of the more challenging courses in any business program, and this is true whether it's face-to-face or online. And this is an intro to financial accounting and reporting required by all students in the School of Business. This 3-hour course introduces students to financial statements, to understanding that financial statements measure a business's financial assets, liabilities, and their equity or net worth. Financial statements are an important tool and are often called the language of business. We're going to be understanding financial statements in depth through understanding how they're built by corporate transactions. And this course will be going over the corporate model of financial accounting. Some courses use the sole proprietorship, the self-employed person, but this is the corporate model. So in this course, as we talk about in the purpose, we will be discussing theory and practice and those challenging debits and credits that make up the transactions that build the financial statements. A lot of what we will be doing is prepared by computer in the real world. But as we know, somebody has to create those real world models for computer building of a set of financial statements. And as users of financial statements, we have to understand what goes into the transactions in a set of financial statements. It's an important course for individuals going into the business world to be able to understand what's within the financial statements that they're using and understand where they come from. So we'll be talking about terms and techniques for preparing, as this says, interpreting and using the financial statements, and we'll also talk about ethics because ethics is such an important part of any course that we teach. So let's start with the required text, and this is crucial and probably one of the most important things that an online student needs to understand. You can purchase the required code from the bookstore at the Citadel, or I'm going to do my best to find a way for you to link online. I'm waiting on the book publisher to give me that information so that you can just buy access from the comfort of your home, wherever you may be, so that you don't have to travel to the bookstore or have it shipped to you. So there's 2 ways to get this book. The book is a Cengage product, and the authors are Warren, Reeve, and Ducock. And when you get the book, you can get your code, which is just going to provide you online access, and you'll be using an ebook, and you will have online access for the homework and the exams. Or there's an option to pay a little more and get a loose leaf version, and that's called a bundle. And you will get loose leaf format plus the code. And that is optional, but most students find that they do like getting that loose leaf version. So it's totally up to you. If you do get the loose leaf version, that means that you can take out, for example, chapters 1 and 2 to take with you as opposed to hauling around the entire book. If you get the ebook, understand that you'll be logging into Cengage and accessing all your course written content through the ebook version. So this is probably the most important piece of everything that we're going to be doing, and I'm going to highlight it so that you understand the key. SitLearn is the name of our online platform, our learning management system. It is a Blackboard learning management system, and the Citadel has named it SitLearn. And within SitLearn, you will find a tab that says Cengage Homework and Exams. And if you click on that tab, that is where you will take the code that you have purchased, and using the course key that I have provided here, you will connect the code that you bought with the course key, and that will allow you online access. Will also allow me to be able to see the homework and the exams that you do in Cengage. And I know that's a little bit confusing, but Cengage is the textbook. CitLearn is the Blackboard, Citadel's learning tool. So let me give you a quick, huge, important, but quick reminder, and that is that if you don't go through CitLearn, I will not be able to see your information. I will not be able to grade your course. I will not be able to review your homework. And this happens almost every single course that a student starts to Google Cengage and they find a place that says put in your purchase code and the course key, and they link the course outside of CitLearn. And in doing so, your professor is not able to see any of the work. And therefore you don't get any credit for any of the homework or for the exams because it's not done within the course itself. So let's keep that in mind as the most important thing that you can do as we're going through this course. So let me get rid of the highlights and move forward down here. If you go to this website and click on textbooks, you can make the purchase of the code or the code plus loose leaf. And as of this publication for this video, I don't have the link for you to purchase this book online, but I will have that by the time this course is released. And so let me pause a minute and tell you that this course is not going to be released until Monday, May 7th. The Citadel does not allow students that are registered within a course to be able to access the course until the day the course actually starts. So on Monday, May 7th, you will receive access, and at that time, that online purchase option will be available to you. In the meantime, if you would like to go to the Citadel bookstore and buy it, to have it shipped to you or picked up yourself, then that's always an option. Okay, the course format. The best I can do is tell you that it is not an understatement to say that this is rigorous and self-paced and a content-based course. It's important that you understand, as I sent by email, that it will take potentially 10 to 15 hours per week, because in a typical semester, face-to-face course, it's 14 weeks, and you are covering a chapter a week, which means that is 6 face-to-face hours of meeting, plus the homework, which students tell me on average takes between 1 and 2 hours. The quizzes take time, and also understanding the content without a face-to-face instructor can be a little more time-consuming than whenever you have an instructor that is able to answer your questions immediately. I am available, of course, at all times by email for questions, but sometimes it's a little bit different than when you're meeting face-to-face and you're hearing this for the first time. So the most important thing that I would suggest is, first and foremost, you need to follow deadlines and due dates as closely as they are written in this syllabus. And let me pause this video a minute and pull up the calendar that I'm going to be providing you. This calendar is something I feel might help students keeping up with what's going on in the course and give you a better visual rather than the syllabus. So this is a new thought for me. I frequently change up what's going on with my courses based on the needs of the students, and I hope you'll give me feedback as to whether it helps you or not. Got a little bit too much in red and highlights. I may be changing this before I put it online, but as you can see, the course beginning, this is the month of May, the course beginning on May the 7th with, see if I can change this color. Oh, it's not going to change for me for what you're seeing. I can change colors, sorry, on my desktop. So the course begins on May 7th, and you can see I've got chapters 1 and 2 listed in red all the way up through May the 15th. And at 11:55, the quizzes and homework will be due for chapters 1 and 2. They will close at 11:55 p.m. and will not be reopened. Technology challenges, time constraint challenges, personal issues, I am not at liberty to open these up. If there were a medical emergency, I am able to try to accommodate you through other means, but once these course chapters open and close, then they are permanently closed. So on the 15th at 11:55, you will have had a little bit over a week for chapters 1 and 2, and they are two of the more difficult chapters that you'll be covering. So keep that in mind as you look at your calendar for the summer. Notice then we start chapters 3 and 4. They will open on the 15th, and you will have a week to study and complete the quizzes and homework for those. And after the first 4 chapters, you will have exam 1 on the 23rd, which also overlaps with the start of chapter 5 and 6. Again, with only 6.5 weeks to cover the content that we cover in a 14-week semester, it's very rigorous and very fast-paced. As we roll through, we can see that this same pace covers until the end of the course on June the 19th, when we cover the last 2 chapters, 11 and 12. We will have our cumulative final on June the 21st, and cumulative meaning all 12 chapters covered, as is required of all courses at the Citadel according to our faculty manual. So mark your calendar. Be ready for this calendar to be released on Monday so that you have access and can see if you have any conflicts. Just as I'm doing this 5 days early to prepare this video, just in case something comes up, it's my strongest suggestion and advice that you make sure that you get all of your chapter assignments and the homework and the quizzes and the readings and all of the other work done way in advance in case something comes up that causes you a problem at the end. So we're back to the syllabus, and again, to remind you about these due dates, the best way I can say it is that life happens. And doing things early, for example, way early, way in advance, is always going to be your best strategy for success in this course. The course goals and objectives are listed here. We've talked about them briefly as far as understanding business transactions, analyzing transactions, recording transactions, understanding financial statements, preparing them, analyzing them. There's a tremendous amount of content in this course with a great deal of base knowledge that needs to be not just understood but memorized, so that you have some speed to be able to prepare the higher level thinkings of analysis and the critical thinking that's required to be able to prepare these financial statements and make decisions about how a transaction should be recorded and how that transaction affects the financial statements. Let's move down to the discussion question requirements. Each chapter will have 1 or more discussion questions that are trying to pull our students out of memorize mode and into the idea of actually using the content and applying it to what goes on within the real world. Each chapter's discussion question is required, and things such as I agree or good point are great. They're nice to put down, yes, that's a good idea, but a discussion is going to be several sentences, a well-structured paragraph, well-written. We stress written communication in this course, so look at what responses are to a well-written, well-structured paragraph. I try to model these responses for each of you by providing some content myself to get you started. So if you've got any questions about how to do the discussion questions, please let me know. Quizzes are found on SitLearn. In the tabs per chapter, there are anywhere from 1 to 3 quizzes per chapter, and these quizzes are between 5 and 10 questions. They are quite easy. I would often suggest that students do their first take, because you have two takes. Do your first take as you first start studying a chapter, because they're meant to be basically definitions and the simplest but most basic content. I've had students in the past say, well, I made 100 on all of my quizzes, and my response is that you're supposed to make a 100 on all of your quizzes, because the quizzes are at a very lower level of memorizing and meant to get you familiar with the content. It's when you get to the exam that the application clicks, and you have to understand how to actually apply the basic content. So the quizzes are meant to prepare you for the memorization that's going to be needed to take an exam, and we'll transition straight over into here. Exams are open for a 24-hour period, and again, no makeups, no extensions, and no extended time unless you have accommodations. And if that's the case, you need to see me, and we will work with the Citadel's ITS area and with our Academic Support Center. The content is based on what you've done online and what you found on SitLearn. You will have your book and your notes open, but the exam is meant to be a short period of time so that students that don't know the material will not probably have enough time to finish it, because you will not have enough time to look up the answers. It's meant for you to be required to know what you're doing before you start with the exam, just as if you were in a face-to-face class where you don't have books and notes. So I can't stress that enough. There will be true false and problem solving and fill in the blank and sometimes individual worksheets that you will complete and send to me by email. When you take the exam, you may not take the exam with another individual present and may not receive assistance from anywhere other than your text or online resources, and you may not communicate with other individuals or take screenshots. The Citadel Graduate College, which oversees the online courses, has a non-cadet honor code, and students found in violation will have this honor code apply to them individually. Homework assignments are found on your Cengage website, Cengage Now V2, version 2, where the class is linked. And the problems are also the exact same problems as in the back of the ebook or the loose leaf copy of the chapter. So some students actually find it a little difficult the first few times they do homework online, and they will do it with pencil and paper, then transfer their answers to online. Now understand that there is algorithmic questioning, which means that every person will get a different number as they do this homework. So if you work with someone else, they're not going to have the same problem or the same numbers for calculations. Homework has to have at least 70% correct to receive credit. So some students will work on their homework, get 10-20% done because you have unlimited attempts, but then they don't go back and finish it, and unfortunately, if you only have 65% of the online homework correct, you will not get credit. You need at least 70%. Of course, you can use your book and your notes. You could work with another student if that's available for you. We have seen students gaming homework. I'm aware of the fact that there are websites that have homework solutions on them, and I have seen many students that have failed all their exams but made a 100 on all of their homeworks. And because of the way that the course is weighted, those individuals were unable to pass the course, and had to take the course again. So if you're able to find the online homework somewhere, it is an honor violation. It is considered cheating to use the online homework that you found. Of course, as an online instructor, I'm not able to tell whether you've done that or not. So my strongest advice would be that you understand that completing the homework is what helps you become successful on your exam. I just got back the course evaluations from students that took this course in the spring of 2018, and many students said that plowing through that homework, and some students said it took 2 to 3 hours to do some of the first chapter homeworks, but that plowing through that homework is what helped them become successful on their exams. And I hope that you will find that too. If you need help as you're doing your homework, you are able to click at the top tab on a video that will help you understand how to do the homework. You're also able to click at the bottom of the tab to ask me a question about that specific problem. And if you do send a question to me and I can't answer you immediately, and you finally figure out that you did answer the question, please let me know, because I will spend quite a bit of time trying to compose a good response to help you with your homework as you're going through. One homework drop allowed for this session. Keep that in mind. That means that you've got 11 homework assignments to do. Let's see. If you have any problems while you're doing your homework or taking your exams, which are found within Cengage, I want to let each student know that the professors, none of us, have the capacity to work within the technology of our textbook publishers, so you'll have to contact Cengage Tech Support. There are phone numbers and links that you will find when you're in Cengage's website, and they should get back with you as quickly as possible. Again, it's another reason for each student to never wait until the day that assignments are due to start working on the course, because many students will try to finish all of the work for 2 chapters, maybe starting at 6 o'clock at night, and the homework is due at 11:55, and in the past I've had many students say that they were completely unable to finish their work within that short period of time. Also, as a big reminder of instructional strategies and best practices, it is extremely advised that, and has shown by research, that spreading out your study, spreading out your practice, spreading out your assignments is the best way for you to retain the information for an exam. If you cram it all in the night before an exam, that retention's not going to be there. And when you take the exam, you're not going to remember what you did the night before because you spent 6 hours trying to catch up on 2 chapters. Finally, one of the things students are always shocked about with accounting is that Chapter 1 information is covered in Chapter 10, 11, 12. Accounting is cumulative, 100% cumulative. So what you start doing in Chapter 1 will be built upon through every subsequent chapter and tested on your final exam. So using best practices for study is at your best advantage. Okay, now we come up with the calendar laid out on the syllabus that you're probably used to seeing. I've split this course by week. Some professors split it by modules and by chapter. So notice chapters 1 and 2, chapters 3 and 4, and then we have our exam. And so this is providing the same information that I just showed you in the calendar format. This is my online code of conduct and course requirements. I will be sending this to each student with the request that you email back a statement that you have read the course requirements and you understand that you are required to abide by them. And this is to prevent things that have happened in prior courses and to make sure that you were successful within this course. It has to do with your access to technology and a working laptop and a strong internet connection, and the fact that technology problems are not an extension of any assignment due dates. This terminology came from the Citadel's Center for Success, where all of the online courses run, and it needs to be known by every student that if you have technology issues, that's something that you need to resolve, and it's strongly suggested that you have a backup in case of a problem, so that if something happens to your computer, laptop, whatever, then tablet, that you will have a backup. While students say that they can access this information by phone, I would strongly advise against it, particularly when you get to the homework, which is a tremendously giant spreadsheet. And if you have a small laptop or iPad, tablet that you're trying to do the work on, it's almost impossible to do a giant accounting problem on a small iPad. You will find that as you start to work through the homework. Also, student scheduling and posted due dates, you have to ensure your schedule allows, and vacations and other non-medical family emergencies are not excuses for late submission. Again, this wording comes from the Citadel's Online Center for Success. But if you do have an unexpected emergency, such as an illness or accident, you need to contact me immediately, and you'll find that you can email me at any time, day or night. I'm usually a night person, Eastern Standard Time, as opposed to a morning person. You probably won't start hearing from me until about 9 a.m. whenever I'm up and moving around. You might get messages from me late at night, and it all depends on individuals' chronotypes. I have also indicated that students cannot work together on quizzes and exams, but that students are allowed to work together on their homework, just understanding that homework is going to be algorithmically calculated. Okay, course grading. 60%, the 3 exams, the 2 semester exams and the 1 final exam. So 60% of your course, understanding that this is going to be timed, that these problems are not going to be memorization or the basic lower levels on Bloom's taxonomy of memorizing, but instead these are going to be the application. So instead of asking you to tell me the financial statement formula, I may be asking you what would the effects of a transaction that showed that a customer indicated that they couldn't pay for work that was performed, what would that transaction do to the financial statement? And you'll be given multiple choice responses, sometimes fill in the blank that you will be sending to me or choosing from. So again, this is a rigorous course, and I can't stress that enough because of historically some of the challenges that we've had. Homework 15%, class discussions, which will come from the course participation there, and quizzes and other short projects. As the semester goes along, you'll have quite a few quizzes, but I will also provide opportunities for short projects, maybe to pull up a live set of financial statements and analyze their information to send to me individually by email, or to add to your Sit-Learn course in the assignments area, so that we can do something other than just the black and white that we've got on the financial statements. Okay, finally, this set of due dates that we have here is a duplicate of what you see on the calendar that I showed earlier. Similarly, this set of homework assignments is a duplicate of what you'll see when you log into Cengage's homework area, and provides a listing of all the different types of assignments that you're given. I want to make one note. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 are required, and for students that don't believe me, and in the past I've seen 20-30% of students who don't understand how much time it's going to take to do the homework, what I have to do is, what I have chosen to do is to provide a penalty to students who are late on the first 2 chapters that are due on the 15th, and that will extend a few more days, but there will be a 25% penalty, and the highest grade received when you choose this option, whether it's the work that you did before the due date or the work that you did after the due date, the highest grade that you receive will be counted in. But that 25% penalty is meant to try to encourage students, because it's so important that students do chapters 1 and 2, because they're the base for all the rest. There is a Citadel School of Business student code that talks about treating individuals within the course and within the program with respect, ensuring, and this is so key, that you continue to develop and demonstrate a passion for learning and intellectual honesty, and maintain your academic integrity, ensure that you are professional and ethical, and that your attitude reflects a positive approach to being a member of this class. Okay, this is almost 30 minutes. I'm sure this is the longest syllabus review you've had, but with an online course, I think it's important. I hope that you've been able to take some notes on this, or maybe printed out your syllabus. And if you've got any questions, I'm here to help. Good luck for the best success possible as you finish this course.